Hey, what's going on today? This is day number uh, this is day number 9 of my video series. Today I want to talk about something that I don't think gets talked about very much. It's where does money come from? Money is a central part of our lives, and yet most people have no idea where it actually comes from. I mean, it's weird. It's just kind of a long story of how the money system got created, especially here in America, because at one point it was backed up by precious metals, gold, and whatnot. But in 1913, Congress, I think it was on a Christmas vacation, passed the Federal Reserve Act, and the only people who showed up for it were the people that were for it. They kind of pulled a fast one on everyone else in Congress, and they voted for the money to no longer be printed by the government, but by a private corporation called the Federal Reserve. And the Federal Reserve actually loans the government money at interest. And this has been the trend all over the world now. And it seems like all the countries that America is bombing are all the countries that don't have a Rothschild-owned bank, which is related to loaning money instead of printing it themselves. So money is essentially created out of thin air in a way. It's printed and then it's loaned to the government, which means the government can never pay it back. That's why our debt is 21 trillion, and they just lost another 21 trillion. So they basically doubled the debt. They didn't lose it, they're using it on secret whatever's operations. But anyway, the money system is basically, if you look at it this way, let's say you borrow $50,000 from a bank for whatever reason. There's this thing called fractional reserve lending too. I'll get to that in a second. Let's say you just borrow it. They create that money out of fresh air. It comes out of nowhere. They just make it at the bank. And then there's this thing called fractional reserve lending where a bank can loan 9 to 10 times what they actually have on deposit, which is insane if you think about it. Sometimes even more than that, actually. But I mean, it's insane. So let's say you borrow $50,000. Then you spend $20,000 on a car. And the person you bought the car from puts that in his bank account. Then that bank can lend 9 to 10 times that 20,000. And then let's just say they lend that money to somebody else. And then they put money in their bank, and then that bank, and it just goes on and on and on until from the 50,000, possibly millions of dollars been created out of literally nothing. It's insane. And in a lot of ways, not every way, but money does rule our lives to a big extent. We have to pay to be alive, basically. But I mean, I'm not saying money is bad because it does have its place, but the way it's created is very, very shady and very bad, because when these bankers who just care about making as much profit and whatnot, and then you got to pay interest on the loans too. I forget about that. You got to pay interest on money that doesn't exist. They just created out of thin air. You got to pay interest on it. Same thing with the governments. But I mean, like, then there's the derivatives market, which takes insanity to a whole new level. So what they do is they bet on bets on bets on markets, and I think a movie called The Big Short was a good example when a bunch of people bet against the housing market and made billions of dollars because the housing market crashed. Now, isn't that nice? People losing their homes while these people are profiting at that expense. And every bank has trillions of dollars, every major bank at least, has trillions of dollars in derivatives. And that bubble is going to burst eventually. And there are so many different things that it'll make the crash of 2008 look like, I don't know, look like a small drizzle of rain compared to the monsoon that's coming. And it will collapse, and that will be the reason to bring in the one world currency. That's the reason they're going to do it. They're going, just like they intentionally crashed the economy in 08 by changing interest rates purposely, and then they bailed out all the banks. And they've said that from now on, they're going to do bail-ins. If you don't know what a bail-in is, just look at Cyprus. It means that they took money right out of the account of people all the way down to the insured amounts. Like if you're insured up to 150,000 or 250,000, they took all their money except that. And they're always trying to lower the amount that's insured. They've done it in Britain. Don't know if they've done it in America. I haven't been inside a bank in a while. Just use the drive-through, but the FDIC, they're always trying to lower that. So that way, the next time they said it's going to be a bail-in, all the bank, and they all gave them those bonuses. Because they failed and they destroyed the economy. I guess they got bonuses because they did what they were told to do, which was crash the economy. Because nothing gets people more looking up. It's problem, reaction, solution. No, but it gets people looking for answers from authority than a crisis. Like that. People are always looking to the authorities. Do something. You create a problem. Problem, reaction, solution is a tactic that they use a lot. They covertly create a problem. They want to do something. Okay, they want to do something. Let's say they want to, for example, I'll give an example. They wanted to restrict Americans' freedom in 2000. So they wrote in a document, a project for the new American century, that they wanted to also attack 7 countries in 5 years, and it would take a catalyzing and catastrophic event like a new Pearl Harbor for this to happen in some kind of time frame like that. So what they did was they created the problem of 9/11 through all kinds of black ops, crazy, drones flying into the buildings and stuff like that. But that's for another day. I'll talk about 9/11 in another video. But anyway, so they got the reaction from the people. Do something. We don't feel safe. Do something. So they made the Patriot Act, which restricted our freedoms more under the guise of protecting us from terrorists, which in reality, the terrorists were people in our government and people in the other governments like Israel, UK, and other ones. And what they wanted to restrict freedom to begin with. They created a problem that would create a reaction to give them the solution they already had queued up. So it really is, and that's what it's going to happen with the derivative bubble. The derivatives bubble is another massive problem, reaction, solution, because it's all fresh air money. It doesn't exist. They're all bets on bets on bets on bets, and it's like a big casino on Wall Street. So anyway, these people, once it collapses, are going to again say, we have to bail out the banks, but this time the people already did do it through their taxes. But this time it's going to be a direct, they've said it. It's really ridiculous. But anyway, so money really is, it used to be, on a gold standard, which is fine, which means that inflation was not really an issue. Now inflation is insane and wages are not going up. That's the problem. They keep printing more and more money, and the government keeps borrowing more and more money from the Federal Reserve, which is why there's like trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of debt all over the world because they owe the mostly Rothschild, Rockefeller created banks. And I know that most people in the world are struggling with money. And it's sad because you wish, well, you don't wish, you want things to go better because the world is run by these banking criminals and the corporations which are all connected at the top anyway. But these large corporations, they're all merging for one simple reason. They already were together and they have a ton of concentration of wealth. But money isn't the be all and end all, but it is a great way for people to hold back from doing what they want to do. And it's a great excuse. But even though people don't have money, they've done great things. So it's not like it's the end of the world if you don't have money. But it's a lot harder to do a lot of things. But it's just the whole foundation of the money system is predicated on basically debt. It's all debt. It's all IOUs. And I'm not saying that we should live without money, because money does provide a fair medium of exchange. But it would be a lot better if it stayed constant and prices didn't keep going up and mostly up and down, but mostly up due to inflation. In Zimbabwe, they had hyperinflation and it crippled the population because we're heading that way in America. Hyperinflation is coming. It's just a matter of time. I mean, what you could buy for $5 in 1970, yeah, it's almost 50 years. Yeah, about 48 years ago, what you could buy then, you have to spend probably like close to 10 times as much. Not 10 times, but probably 10 times. It's not important. The important thing is that the money system is rigged so that the way less than 1%, I'm talking like 0.1%, have close to half the money's wealth, while the bottom 50% of the population, I believe, has less than 1% or something in America. Something really, 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 really low. Or the bottom, I don't know. It's getting to the point where certain people have trillions of dollars and the majority of people are either in debt or just barely breaking even, which is not just due to themselves, but the whole money system, which is completely and utterly insane if you think about it. But we shouldn't get down about it because money is just one aspect of our lives. We could still live a happy life without, a lot of money. It's just a matter of your perspective on it, which I think it's more empowering to say I can do this no matter what than say I need this much money to do this and that much money to do that. But there's no denying it's good to have more money than less. Unless, of course, you're not ready to deal with it, with more money. You might make some mistakes. That's why most lottery winners go broke, because they're not equipped to handle hundreds of millions of dollars, which is understandable to an extent, but I just thought I would illustrate where money comes from and how it's created and how it's used to manipulate society in a way. But if we think beyond, the program of our lives and our life story and our little me perspective, and think more holistically, if we all came together and supported each other and like got along and we're a community and took our power back, this really would not affect us as much. I think it's our rugged individualism in this country that it's another issue that affects us, because everyone's trying to do everything themselves instead of working collaboratively with others, which I think is a great way to enhance humanity's togetherness. And if we all just got along and stopped being divided and ruled, we would have immense power. We would be able to do anything, literally. We are infinite possibility, and we're nothing like the way money's created and the crooked bankers and whatnot. Not going to let that hold us back from creating a better world. We just have to be aware of what's going on, no matter how unpleasant it might be. Because if we know how things are run, we can adequately defend ourselves against it and proactively create a better way of doing things. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something from it about how money is really created. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Have a great day.